Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Henry Yout, and welcome back to Bring On Entertainment. I just misspelled. Welcome back. But here we are, Bring On the Entertainment here. So the world's on fire, everything's going to shit, and yet we still find a way to bitch about movies made for teenagers. But anyway, I got my two co-hosts here. I got Sam and Trevor. So how you doing, guys?
I'm doing great.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Nice, cool. So, there's been a lot of news for in the film industry. Like, there's been significant loss. AMC is going down the shitter,
Mhm.
but within that silver lining, we have two big newses. So, the first being the Snyder Cut is a thing. So, let's
Yay.
talk about that here. So, like, what are your guys' thoughts on it as a whole? You guys want to
Yeah,
dig
if I,
into
if I can go first,
that?
um,
Totally.
I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I think it's really cool that they're doing it, especially for HBO Max. That was a really smart move to
Yeah.
like contend with Disney Plus and stuff.
Hmm.
But I think it sets a weird precedent for the film industry where like the fans can complain hard enough and they can actually get what they want.
Yeah.
Like with the Sonic movie, the Sonic redesign.
Yeah, wait, didn't the company like go out of business? Like the
Yep.
VFX studio? Yeah, that's what was because of that, right?
No,
Yeah.
just VFX studios tend to be underpaid as it is.
Oh yeah, dude, that's really awful, man. So yeah, I would agree with that sentiment a little bit. I want to get into Trevor's idea of it. So what do you think, Trevor?
Um, I appreciate that studios are listening to fans. I don't like, when the fans have to get aggressive about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Sonic one I think is a good example because it was just bad. That was a really bad design. They're like, all right, let's fix it. But in this one, the Warner Brothers clearly fired Snyder. In room apparently fired him. We don't know exactly what went down, but they did it for a reason, and it's because the cut wasn't very good. Um, from what we can tell. So just I
yeah,
don't know them caving on it. It just kind of I like it because I like expanding the voices of storytellers, and that was one of my big issues with
yeah,
the latest Star Wars because they just silence the storytellers, and I
yeah.
like that we're giving power to them. But I also don't like how this victory was won. I guess
Yeah. Have either of you guys? I've probably talked about this guy before. Have you guys heard of Film Gob?
I have not.
No.
Okay, he's like this weird YouTuber, Twitter Snyder Cut fan. Like this guy is basically like, and like a couple weeks ago, like Andy Signore, right, Trevor? Like he has
Yes.
like his own YouTube channel. Like he was like going after the Snyder fans and like a bunch of these videos. Like it was like if you think Marvel fans are like can be toxic, which some of them are. Like most like a lot of fandoms have toxic people in them, but I feel like the Snyder fandom is kind of like gone over the edge. Like they were like attacking Andy
Hmm.
Signore and like Jody, which is like kind of weird. But then he like he like attacked back saying, "Oh, reject the Snyder cult." And it's like I said, "Why don't you go fuck off, guys?" And it's like, "Holy shit, man! It was crazy." Like
Yeah.
I'll send some links down at the bottom there. But dude, that was like wicked. And like Film Gob was like participating in a lot of it. It's like, oh, look at these cucks here. Look at these guys. They don't believe in the Snyder. It was like really crazy. Here we have a pandemic and we're talking about Superman, right? It was
Well, I
just
mean,
it was
we all
crazy.
need a little hope.
Yeah, we do. We all need a little hope. I don't know. That
Um,
was just me.
on a financial side, though, I
Yeah.
don't get the motivation to make the Snyder cut. To be
Yeah.
honest, because the movie Justice League itself was never like it did not do well. It had a budget of three
Right.
hundred million by the end of it, and it barely doubled that
Yeah.
at the box office. I mean, like it didn't reach 700,000, but even getting up there is still a good achievement. But when the movie was that much, and you compare that to other superhero movies that are coming out right
Hmm.
now in the same genre, that is not a win.
Didn't
Um,
didn't it even get less than like Batman v Superman did?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
think
made
it's the
two times less.
at the time it was the lowest grossing DC movie in the DCEU.
That's crazy.
Um, so that's not a good sign. And now they're going to pour another $30 million into it.
Yeah.
Um, which I guess maybe they're just trying to like I don't know get as much out of the sponge as they can.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they have to pay the $300 million again, but it's $30 million, and then people who are connected to the project are also coming out and saying it's going to
It's
be more
more.
than 30
Yeah,
million.
like I think like somebody estimated say around 70 million. Like
Yeah.
that's what I heard from like an insider I know.
Wow.
Like if
Um,
we're going to do a director's cut of a film, I think that's like a great idea that if we start doing that and giving them budgets to reshoot or let's do new VFX, but do one that was like good or successful, like The Dark Knight.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there was a lot that was cut out
speaking
of
of
Christopher Nolan's cut.
speaking of director's cuts and more specifically about Zack Snyder, what do you guys think of his filmography? Because I have been fascinated with his recent two films, Batman v Superman and Man
Mhm.
of Steel, for the past couple weeks. I've just been rewatching and analyzing them because I've gotten a lot of interesting takes out of them.
That
For me
sounds like
personally,
torture to me.
to me, I don't know, like I've been fascinated with. I've just been like digging into them, like just holy
Mhm.
shit. I've been like, wow, look at that. It was crazy because like the more I watch them, the more I like them. I wouldn't say they're like great movies, but I wouldn't call them terrible because like at the end of the day, they still are an artistic vision. You know, like
Mhm.
they have like a distinct style, which you know. As much as I love the Marvel films, I will critique some of them, like Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange, for not having like a distinct style. Like let's say something like Black Panther or the Russo brother films. But
Mhm.
with Zack Snyder, you know you're getting like a Snyder film, whether you like it or not,
Yeah,
and
see
I can appreciate that.
with
Yeah.
Snyder, I would lean more towards like the didn't he do 300?
Yeah, he did do
Yep.
300 and he did Sucker Punch and Watchmen, which, you know, after the TV show, I kind of realized how
Mm.
bad the movie is. It's
The
just, it's,
director's cut of Watchmen is actually a lot better.
yeah,
I
I,
I
I'll take
enjoyed
your
the
word for it.
director's cut of Watchmen, but I did not enjoy the theatrical cut.
yeah,
Okay. Um, for me with Snyder, I don't know. I like he's a fantastic cinematographer. I'll give
I
him
agree
that.
totally.
Mhm.
Like when I was like thinking like what would be the dream team for like a Deadpool movie, I was like Zack Snyder, but only on camera. Because he's a really cool, like he's really good at making things look cool. 300 looked cool.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like he works a lot better as an independent director
Yeah,
rather than a studio director because he doesn't know. And I think that's where the flaw came from. It's because like he gets caught up in his own work. He's really stubborn about it, which has ruined some of his movies. But it's also when he has to work with a studio, he has been found to just not be
yeah.
good to work with. Like with
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman, they ordered a 2 hour, maybe 2 hour and 30 minute movie from him.
And he gave him like a 3 hour movie.
Yeah, I
Like,
heard the
sorry.
full cut was like 4 hours, and then he like really didn't want to work with them to cut it down, which is why it was so chunky because he didn't want to do reshoots. He was just,
Yeah,
I mean, that's all rumors, but it's also kind of makes sense if you watch the movie.
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
agree. It sort of reeks of like studio intervention, Batman v Superman
yeah,
especially, with like how much they cram
yeah.
into that movie.
But is that intervention bad if it's a 4 hour movie and the director just refused to follow orders?
Hmm.
That's where I kind of come at with that one.
Yeah. Did you guys hear anything in the background there? It was just like my landlord there.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. It was something there. Sorry about that. Anyway,
You're
getting
good.
back to the thing there. Yeah. So like the thing about actually, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go on a bit of a pivot here, back to a tangent here. So thing about Watchmen that I really like. He has like very surface level analysis. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like let's say like the movie Watchmen. Like I think he's more interested in the idea of Watchmen than rather the ideas in Watchmen because the thing about Watchmen is
Hmm.
it's sort of like a deconstruction of the superhero thing. It's sort of like The Boys. Well, Zack Snyder's film is sort of like embracing the superhero thing, where Watchmen wasn't really about. And again, if you take that, I mean, if you take like that criticism aside, Watchmen is still a pretty watchable movie. But if you put it into the context of what Watchmen's actually about, that's where it kind of falls apart. And I think that's kind of the same thing with the Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Pretty much all of his work besides 300 and
Hmm.
Dawn of the Dead.
Yep.
Yeah,
He took the ideas of Batman and Superman, and like he did interesting things with them, but I don't really feel like they represent. Superman was fine at times, but I don't feel like they represented the characters they were actually supposed to
Hmm.
be. Because I mean, in Justice League, we see Batman no longer as a grumpy character, and he's although that could be credited to Joss Whedon,
yeah,
but he completely changed personalities from who Batman is supposed to be until it reached the point where it's like, all right, this is the final arc of Batman. He can't go anywhere now. Are they going to
yeah.
kill him?
I would agree with that.
Right. And
Uh,
in
yeah.
Batman v Superman especially, everyone got upset with like Batman killing people, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing if you can do it right. It just felt so much because Batman didn't even have his own standalone movie before Batman v Superman. So it felt like so much of a jump that it was like it made this interesting idea just feel like terrible and it just didn't work.
I
Yeah.
agree completely. Like they didn't show why he what pushed him to that point. Like
Right,
they're like,
exactly.
oh well, there's a you could see the Robin costume, so it's clear that Robin died, and that's why he's evil. But it's like, well,
Yeah,
can we
you need
can we
like
see
more.
that?
Yeah.
That's the arc I want to see of Batman. I don't want to see him just grumpy and angry. I want to see what
Yeah.
drove him to that point.
Right.
Actually, I'm gonna do the unthinkable here. I'm actually gonna defend that one scene there, just a little bit, because like the thing about Snyder is he's sort of like James Cameron. He paints in very broad strokes. So like that one scene where you see like Bruce Wayne looking at the Robin suit where it says, "You let your family die," and that look that he like gives the suit and like even his own suit where he's saying like I will never let this happen again. Like
Hmm.
to me it's very subtle and okay, so like the thing about this is that it's both very like smart and dumb at the same time. Like it like the thing about like Zack Snyder is that he like goes polar opposite at like one thing. Like it's really like interesting to me. In fact, I think like Snyder films are like a great critique for film analysis because there's just so much in there to like both criticize and yet like you know celebrate in them, and it's like so frustrating like in those things in my
I do
view.
I do
Yeah,
have a comment on that one.
yeah,
Sorry.
sure, no worries.
Um, I do think that's actually a really good scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, to be honest, because there aren't many great ones. But I feel like that was effective, but also wasn't effective enough because one of the rules of screenwriting is the most important ones is show don't tell.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And while that did attempt to like it showed him and showed us why he was upset, it was still basically telling us why he was upset without actually giving us any connection. And like, what if instead of that, I know I'm just kind of brainstorming at this point, but the opening scene with, Bruce Wayne seeing his parents die, what if that had been replaced with Batman seeing Robin die? Because clearly that's the traumatic incident that's
Mm,
affecting him in Batman vs Superman way more than his parents died 30 years ago.
yeah.
yeah. And then we don't
If
have to
I
do
like
the origin again.
no worries. Take your time. Sorry, Sam, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh
Please
no, I
finish
was
her off.
just saying that then we didn't have to watch his origin story again for like the fourth time.
Mm-hmm.
If I could compare that, because I would agree, I do think I like the thing about the whole like opening scene, like where he like goes to kill, like where like we see like his parents murdered again. Like I do understand like the fact that like he like you could have taken that thing out, but I feel like if that scene was taken out, then the Martha scene would have been way stupider. Which
Good.
yeah,
Get rid of the Martha scene.
there you go.
Yeah,
Got to kill your
Uh,
just get
darling,
rid of
Zach.
it.
yeah. But actually getting to another point here, I think kind of going back to a recent blockbuster that I did really enjoy, and I know Sam and Trevor are probably going to disagree with me, is Terminator Dark Fate. Like I feel like
Mm,
that one scene, like at the beginning where like the T-800 goes to kill John Connor, I think is like both powerful and just like a gut punch to the audience saying, "Holy shit, this is gonna change Sarah Connor forever." Like, if it wasn't enough that she like got her like whole life ruined by this like man who was killed in the future, now like she has like the blood of her son's hands, right? Like she like literally does it, and I feel like that's a pretty good way to like get Batman like saying, "Oh, get at the beginning where like Robin is killed," and he's like, "I will never let this happen again." And again, if you had like more of the Zach like hamminess, I think it would like be more powerful. I think.
mm,
Oh, 100%. And I'm sure I haven't seen Dark Fate, but I'm sure that opening scene or whatever, like, definitely connects to the grander movie.
Yeah.
Unlike the opening of Batman vs Superman, which barely connects. It connects for Martha and then maybe some of his motivation, but
Yeah.
I don't
That
know.
is that's pretty interesting here. So getting on to the cut exactly, like there's been a lot of stuff like said about it. So the first thing is being more it's been said that it's going to be more based around Cyborg, which I find fascinating because he didn't get like a lot of like screen time in the like theatrical cut of Justice League, and actually
mm.
did like Ray Fisher as Cyborg. like the movie wasn't very good, but I do like a lot of the characters. Like I do like Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and I do like surprisingly Ezra Miller's Flash. Like,
Okay, but
and
do you
yeah,
think that might be because Ray Fisher is the only actor they can afford to bring back?
yeah,
Considering he had like
maybe,
two movie roles before Justice League, and then the other actors are Ben Affleck and
yeah,
Ezra Miller, and
yeah,
I feel like that definitely has a big part of it. Although I am excited to see more Cyborg.
yeah, dude.
He had
Like,
nothing in that movie.
he didn't have a lot to do in that movie. And actually, going back to that, I heard there was like some stuff that Henry Gow was gonna like reshoot some scenes there in like in between, I think stuff right there. That'd be kind of cool to see. But there was
I heard about
also said
that.
to be
But
there'd be sorry, what?
sorry, I heard he's going to do the reshoots, but he's going to have a mustache again, unfortunately. So
You will? Oh
no,
damn
I'm
it!
joking.
Oh damn it! Okay, that'd be kind of stupid though. Chris McCoy, you asshole.
Okay,
Anyway,
I stand by Chris McQuarrie in that one.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
hack. Just kidding. Anyway,
They did so many practical effects in Mission Impossible Fallout
yeah,
that agreeing to do a CGI beard for one of their lead
yeah.
actors would have just kind of reversed all of that. So
Yeah, totally.
sorry.
Talking about Mission Impossible again, I don't know. I feel like Mr. Christopher McQuarrie, like doing like four Mission Impossible movies. I'm kind of worried like he's gonna get burnt out on number 7 and 8, like Sam Raimi did. Like, just
Mm.
I feel like it would be cool if like another big name director could like helm those two together. You know, I mean, I think Chris McQuarrie's a great actor. I just hope he like gets to move on to like better projects, right?
Maybe. Chris, or sorry, I keep talking again, but Sam
No, you're
Raimi
fine,
was
dude.
burnt out because of the studio
Oh yeah,
rather
Right.
than because of the movies, and then he
Yeah.
got burnt out on the fourth one. He was still
yeah.
really passionate about the third one.
Okay, totally. I'm sorry, I didn't see that, but
No, you're
anyway, getting back to the Snyder cut. So like the stuff that I'm looking up here. So there's going to be a lot of Dark Side there. Steppenwolf will be in there. Most of the Justice League stuff. Uh, I think a couple characters from the Aquaman film will be like in there. It's going to be around 4 hours, which Sam is willing to totally watch. Like what do you guys think of like this movie being like a 4 hour epic? Do you think, and there's been two ideas for thinking, so they're either gonna like split it up into like 6 episodes or like release it
Mm.
as a film. So what do you guys think of that exactly?
Yeah, if I could just take it, I think that splitting it up into episodes would be their best bet, especially for like a streaming service sort of thing. Sort of like how Netflix did with the Hateful Eight, the extended
Yeah.
cut of Hateful Eight. I think it would work a lot better, especially in this day and age of like binge watching shows. And then they could even space out releasing those episodes and just get more subscribers, which is on the financial side of things, which would m- help justify the amount of money that they're going to be pouring into this extra cut of the movie.
Yeah.
See, I don't think it would work as a series. Instead of just doing a 4 hour movie, because like even when you do a mini series like that, you have to make sure that the each episode is basically its own story and
Mm.
not just four parts of a movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like they can't really do that with Justice League, so I feel like it probably would just work better as one straight shot 4 hour movie like Lord of the Rings or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would agree
maybe.
with that.
Cuz like Hateful Eight, that's written to be, it feels like a stage play. So, yeah, I think I agree. Justice League might not work in like that sort of episodic fashion cuz it's written to be like a 3-act movie, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. I feel like I wouldn't be opposed to any of them, but I would kind of lean more towards the 4 hour cut because that's the way it was intended to see in the first place, I think. And
Mm.
though I do hear that Zack Snyder has been sort of like saying, "Oh, it's going to change a bit from my original thing," which kind of like debunks the whole point that there was actually a cut ready to go to release. Like that was like a real thing. But
I get that, but also I think that's a good decision because he can.
yeah,
I mean, he's had 3 years to reflect on it at this point. I'd rather him come back and improve it rather than just release what he had before and most likely
Yeah.
got fired for.
yeah. Yeah, totally. I actually wanted to get into another thing that I've actually wanted to talk about for a while as to like why Warner Brothers wouldn't want this because originally Warner Brothers didn't want this at all,
Hmm.
and there was actually this great article. from Screen Rant, I believe, saying like why DC wouldn't want to do this, and it all kind of revolves around Matt Reeves' Batman because that movie, like they're putting so much pressure on Matt Reeves to deliver on that movie, like the his movie, which will be pretty awesome. But it's just I feel like the fact that they're going to release this in the same year as like Robert Pattinson's Batman, I think may undermine like Matt Reeves' vision. And I'm sort of like I don't know, and along with the Henry Cavill returning stuff, which we'll talk in a minute. So what do you guys think of that argument, like for releasing it?
Um,
I
I
I
don't know. I feel like. Oh, sorry. You can go.
No, it's fine. You could go first.
Okay. I feel like they actually may have done this one strategically
Yeah,
because I mean Ben Affleck. Either way, he's done as Batman because he's just.
yeah,
I mean, he quit due to his alcoholism and other things in his life, so he's not coming
Mm.
back no matter what. So I feel like this might actually work as a good swan song for Affleck, just seeing revisiting his character one more time
yeah,
before the torch is actually passed on to Robert Pattinson, and it might actually build momentum for the Batman movie because I mean it's
yeah,
like I don't know, I'd be more excited if there was a Batman movie coming out in 3 months and we were watching the final cut of Justice League right now,
yeah,
if that makes sense. So it might
yeah,
help from a marketing perspective, which is why they may have agreed.
totally. Sam, you want to go?
Yeah. So are we sure that the Batman, Matt Reeves Batman, it's not connected to this
Like
DCU
that's the
and
thing.
the
I don't think a lot
Justice
of
League?
people actually know about it because the whole backstory of it was actually the reason why Ben Affleck left was pretty much because of Johns and like Jeff Johns had the script of this 2 year Batman in year two, and that's where the whole like younger Batman thing kind of played and things. So I think the
Mhm.
reason why Ben Affleck left was because of that, like more specifically because he Ben Affleck wanted to make his movie and Jeff Johns wanted to make his like younger Batman film and they just couldn't agree on it. So Jeff Johns
Mhm.
kind of won. And then ironically he kind of got fired like right when he got
Mhm.
greenlit, which is pretty funny, you know.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just wondering, like, it'll be interesting if Matt Reeves' Batman is sort of like a one-off, like Joker,
Yeah.
or if it's actually gonna factor into the Justice League universe that they've already established, and they say
I
that
can actually confirm
they're gonna
I can
bring
actually
like
confirm that oh, sorry.
Cavill back for like cameos, I guess, because he
Yeah,
was like
and there's
in
also a scoop there I
Shazam.
actually wanna kinda dig into there actually. But,
Mm,
I don't think Robert Pattinson's gonna be a standoff movie. I think it's gonna be a trilogy, and then he's gonna be done because he did say he was, like, signed on for 3 solo Batman films.
okay,
That's what he
that's
said in his
interesting.
contract there.
It is
And
a
he, like
separate universe, though, right?
yeah, I believe so,
Okay.
which could be kinda good for Batman because the thing about Batman is that I don't think he really works with the Justice League because I don't know, he just, like, the thing about Batman is that he's cool in his own little pocket universe, you
Right.
know?
He doesn't work with others
Yeah. He doesn't work
Yeah.
well with
unless
others.
they're children, but we don't.
Yeah, unless with children. It's very crazy. And speaking of the Batman, this is kind of a pivot there, but I'm glad it's releasing in October. I just feel like the June 25th date didn't fit it very well
Yeah.
for me personally. It's just like like it's kind of like dumb that we haven't had a Batman movie released in October other than the Joker, right?
Plus,
Like
also
it.
Halloween costume sales will help in October.
Oh yeah,
Oh
dude.
yeah.
Probably a big factor there.
Yeah, it just fits with the tone of it because it's set to like maybe adapt the Long Halloween with some exceptions there, but
Oh
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like artists gets primed for like take advantage of that. It just works way better in that slot than like a June one. And besides, like Venom can have that. Venom 2 can have that shitty slot. Like,
Keep forgetting Venom 2 is happening.
yeah,
I
I
keep
just
forgetting that Venom happened.
it's just it's no good. Like like sorry to pivot off here, but dude, Tom Hardy's like film choices as of late have been very questionable. Like he did Venom, and he also had this really bad movie with Josh Trank, who like is a completely different
Hmm.
story entirely. Like that man needs to get some help, and like just oh man, I felt so bad for him. But he did this movie Capone.
Oh
Just it
yeah.
was it was not very good.
Al
Like
Capone's
just
I
when he
know
poops his pants.
yeah, he
Tom
shits.
Hardy respects independent storytellers, basically, is what
Yeah,
I know about him. So basically, like he won't go based off the script or whatever. He'll go based off of who's telling, or he'll go off the script for sure. but he's not going off like the studio or a franchise or anything. He's going based off of how passionate the storyteller is a lot of times.
Yeah.
And the original Venom director was actually very into it before they crushed his cut, because he was pitching it as like it's going to be a superhero horror movie. We're going to have it rated R, and then that didn't happen after the fact.
Didn't I'm pretty sure you can like confirm or deny this, but didn't like Tom Rothman like was very heavily in the editing room for Venom? Like, cause I know he's very much a very hands on producer, and excuse me,
I
and
don't.
God, I could see why. I mean, like they're balancing like hundreds of millions of dollars, but he was like very like key into like Venom's editing. Like he was like there in the editing room like all the time.
Who was this?
Tom Rothman, like the head of Sony.
Oh, that's most likely the case. Yeah, I mean, this was something that Sony wanted to invest a lot in, and they didn't want to get it wrong, because this was going to be, now that they basically given up Spider-Man, kind of, at least for a second there, they were definitely planning on Venom starting this massive cinematic universe. So that's why Sony had so many hands on it, because if it went off the rails, it would make them. It would prove that they cannot make a movie,
Right.
or
Yeah,
at least a Spider-Man one.
Morbius looks very bad.
Yeah,
Just,
it
I'm
does.
sorry.
Well,
I love the Tom Holland Spider Man, but like the fact that they like use like Easter eggs to get me hooked in, I'm just like, come on, guys,
also
you
Jared
got to do
Leto.
better than that, man. Right?
Hmm.
Gee, yeah. Sorry, Jared Leto.
Yeah,
Not gonna sucker me in again, bro, with a damage check too.
I mean, Jared Leto's risky anyways, but
Yeah.
Yeah, him
God.
mailing used condoms to people on the set of this one too.
also the rumors of underage. Never mind.
Okay. Well,
Oh.
wasn't it kind of funny? Like I heard like one time he had this he like went to this island of all his followers and he like legitimately had like a cult for like a week and then he
Hmm.
got shut down. It was pretty funny. I mean,
Well,
it was pretty funny.
was
Like
that the one that was this year?
I don't know. It was like I don't know. I just heard it from somebody. It's like, oh man, dude, Jared Leto has this cult, man. Like he has this like weird cult he like just like brings there. I'm not sure, and I don't want to get super conspiracy.
I
I know
wouldn't
he was
doubt it.
gone in
I'm
the
just saying
desert
I
for a
wouldn't
month
doubt
this
it.
year.
Yeah,
He was in the desert for a month and came back during the coronavirus, and he was like, "What the hell happened?"
he's on
So
track to
he was
become the
gone
next
1 month.
Michael Jackson.
Oh
I'm
god.
just saying it right here.
Yeah, you're right. He's got
Yeah,
the music career and the film career, and
yeah. My favorite quote from is like a week after like the Suicide Squad premiered, and he said to the studio execs, "My answer is fuck them." Like he just so pissed off after that. It's like,
Do you
God
think
damn
we
it.
could get
yeah.
a
Yeah, an
director's cut
aircut.
of Suicide Squad too?
I'm actually like there's like a lot of fuel to fire that flame because like David Ayer has been going off like
Yeah.
the past couple weeks because he's been sort of like letting off steam about saying like he even said, "Oh, Jared Leto like can't like was like mistreated during shooting the Suicide Squad, and like most of his scenes were cut," which is true. Like it's kind of scary that like we haven't seen any of his real performance because I think he was undermined by the producers and stuff like that. You know,
Hmm.
Probably for a reason though, but
yeah,
also
probably
to
for a reason. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Like,
um. I feel sorry.
I don't
I
know, you're good.
I feel like if we do get an Ayer cut though, it won't be for a while, because they're already taking a risk doing the Justice League cut or the Snyder cut. And so they definitely plan to see how the Snyder cut goes in a year from now
Yeah,
before they make any movements on the Ayer cut. And I mean, given Zack Snyder's track record, I'm gonna guess there's not going to be an Ayer cut.
yeah. I mean, like the thing is, like there is a big following for the Snyder Cut thing. As to like whether they'll show up, like I'm pretty sure the hardcore fans will show up, and like even if it's terrible, like most people will just say that it's not terrible. It's like, oh, it's a unique vision, and hey, by all power to you, man. If you believe that, totally
The
all
one
right.
time will hurt it though, so
Yeah,
no one will actually go see it. It'll only be an HBO Max thing,
yeah,
which really means they'll only do an Ayer cut if a million people watch a 4 hour movie, or if it gets really good reviews.
yeah.
Right.
More than a
It,
million, probably more than a million.
Um, my guess is that it will like spark like if it's the Netflix thing where like if you watch it for a minute that counts as a view. Like they could
Mhm.
easily get to that one, but if not, it's sort of like
They
what the fuck.
track it by the minute.
Yeah, track about
on how
that.
much time is watched. So I guess that could actually bring in more movie or money for the movie if it's 4 hours, but
Mm,
also that'll hurt it because no
yeah.
one likes to watch a 4 hour movie.
Speaking of longer movies, I know it's like off topic. How much did The Irishman like make for Netflix? Because like it, and we'll probably get onto this thing before there. But did you guys hear that Martin Scorsese got his like dream wish by like getting $200 million from Apple and Paramount? Like holy shit, man! Like he
Wow.
got it. He like succeeded. He completed the snap. Like I'm kind of happy for him, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like just I don't know. Like I love Martin Scorsese films, but I feel like it's super hypocritical that he like bashes all these $200 million films, and yet he's like taking $200 million to like go make his other movie, and well, and like, and it's like kind of weird because like most Martin Scorsese movies I love are the ones where he's on a lower budget, like Goodfellas and Taxi Drivers, and I like The Irishman. Did feel like it was kind of bloated. That was
Mhm.
just me. Yeah.
I couldn't get through it.
Couldn't get through it.
Way too
I
long.
got through to the end, man. It was really heartfelt near the end where like he was like
Yeah,
right like he was at the memorial and he was talking to the priest. He was like, "Oh man, I regret everything." And then it
that
just
was like the
plays
best part was the end.
dude, it was so
Well, now
God,
you
that was a good
spoiled the
movie.
movie I won't watch.
Yeah.
Mm.
What? Yeah.
See,
But
I
what do you,
watched it when I was 6, so I had nothing to do, so I just knocked it out.
just knocked it out? The Irishman?
Hmm.
Or well, you weren't six when the Irishman was there.
I thought he said sick.
Oh,
Yeah,
sick.
I was sick. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you just knocked it out, man. Just I'm
yeah,
proud of you.
just one sitting, just watch the whole thing.
Yeah. But what do you guys think of Martin Scorsese's new film getting this type of budget and getting a theatrical release starring Robert De Niro and
Whoa.
Wait, he's
Leonardo
casting
DiCaprio?
Robert De Niro
Yep,
and Leonardo DiCaprio?
yep,
I've never seen Scorsese do that.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
Um, Nothing about that. I don't know. I have no thoughts on it just because that's every Scorsese movie at the beginning, in my opinion.
you don't like
The budget seems big, but I also feel like he can actually use that budget for something good. Like
yeah,
a lot
totally,
of big studio films, like they just pour that budget into like just giant pools, and then the money achieves basically nothing. Um, but I'm sure Scorsese could actually like if he needs $200 million for a movie, it's probably deserved. So I'm curious to see how he plays that one out.
yeah, definitely. And the title of the film is "Killers of the Flower Moon."
Whoa.
Yeah, that's
Whoa,
Killer,
okay. Didn't
Killers of the
expect that.
Flower. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just wow,
Yes,
I'll
sounds like
totally
it.
watch it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
I'll
yeah.
see how long it is, and then I'll decide.
Hey man, you watched Endgame for 3 hours. Come on,
It's
man.
different. Okay, Endgame is funny.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like comedy and something that can keep me entertained for three
Yeah.
hours, not just drama.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's true.
Plus, Endgame had like so much build up, the 22 films or whatever
Yeah.
that came
Hmm.
before it.
Yeah.
And it had a lot to cover. It wasn't like we already knew the characters, and so it wasn't just exposition for 2 of those hours.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that was a fun tangent. So here we're going to the scoop here. So Henry Cavill is in talks to return for Superman, which I'm actually kind of happy about because again, like I actually really do like his Superman like a lot. Like to me, like again, his interpretation from Zack Snyder's point wasn't very good, but like I think he kind of saved the theatrical cut of Justice League near the end. Like
Hmm.
again, mustache aside, like the Superman he portrayed, like that end fight was true brilliance,
See, that's what
in
I'm
my view.
worried about, though, because that's not the Superman that Snyder wanted.
Yeah,
Snyder really
Right.
likes the dark Superman, and like it worked in Man of Steel, but every movie they made him darker, which wasn't supposed to be the point.
yep,
And so I was so happy in the Justice League when
Justice League.
Superman showed up and they were playing the old John Williams music, but now by Danny Elfman, and it was
Yes.
super bright, and he was like said something about hope, and I was like, that's my Superman,
Yeah,
and I don't feel like Snyder does that.
and actually, speaking of Henry Cavill Superman, though, um, there actually was a scoop dropped by Mr. John Campea.
Hmm.
John Campea, the king of all movie talk stuff, and we can
Yeah.
all agree with that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's
So
not always right, but he's like
yeah,
he did start it up. But he did say from a couple of sources that J.J. Abrams is working on Superman, and Henry Cavill is is going to be involved in that. Most of his sources said that they were like one of them said he could be in it, and the other one said he is a part of it. So like either way, I think he is mostly going to be involved in this one. Whether it's like whether J.J. Abrams is directing or not, it's unclear. But he is working on Superman, which I think is a perfect fit for
that's cool.
J.J.
Oh yeah,
because that's like his wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
he's good at making stuff bright and campy, which
Yeah, dude.
sometimes works, but it works for Superman
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
for
like
sure.
that just works for him. And though like the Rise of Skywalker did kind of ruin his reputation, I don't really blame him for that. I feel like he was screwed from the get go.
Inside sources say that he agreed to do the Rise of Skywalker if they would give him creative control, which
Yeah.
they did not. And then he apparently tried to get his name removed from the film.
Oh, dude, I'm
Wow.
So
sorry.
I don't know if that's 100% true, but I've heard that from quite a few sources now. So
Damn.
I do not blame Abrams for it. I watched the. Sorry, this is a long tangent for some reason,
No,
but
please.
I watched the 2 hour documentary on the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And like whenever there was anything big picture that he was discussing, like J.J. Abrams when being interviewed was just very dull about it. He didn't look enthusiastic. But when it was like a smaller practical scale something, he was actually very enthusiastic about it because that was what
Yeah.
he was good at. That allowed him to practice his craft. Where I guess the bigger picture of it, just he had no power up over. And then even the other writer admitted that they had to keep writing or rewriting it every day due to new studio demands.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's why I
I
think he was such a good fit for Force Awakens because
mhm.
he just had to set up all the intricacies and stuff, and he didn't actually have to pay any of them off in that specific movie. Well, not all of them at least. But then, like, for him to close the series like that, it was just, it was too tough of a
it's too
job
much.
for anybody to do, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would
Maybe
agree
Colin
with it.
Trevorrow.
Oh yeah, no worries. No, no,
No,
please. Like seriously, Trevor, you're like the most interesting person here. Please go ahead, bud. It's really cool.
okay. Colin Trevorrow probably could have done the Rise of Skywalker, right?
Dude,
He was mostly just fired after Solo kind
yeah.
of started
I know
to.
it was actually September 2017 actually.
Yep. Yeah, that was right after they had fired the Solo directors, and Kathleen Kennedy just
Oh,
didn't want to because she basically had to start fighting because she was starting to follow under the Disney restrictions, and so she had some issues with Colin Trevorrow's script because of that. Um, and then she just fired him basically because she didn't want to risk what had happened with Solo and have to reshoot everything 5 months in.
right.
Yeah. Like this is coming from like a fan of Disney. Like I do like Disney stuff, but I'm kind of worried about like what they're gonna do with the Fox properties. Like with like Alien and Predator. I mean, I think like the Percy Jackson stuff, Darwin Kid stuff. I think they'll do great in. I think those will be fine. I just worry about the more mature stuff. I'm kind of worried about like can you really see like them like doing like a Die Hard film like actually good if they're ever gonna make one? And I'm kind of like hesitant that they
Mm,
will. Or
I
even
could see
an
them
Alien.
doing
Yeah.
that
What?
because they're going to put it under the 20th Century Studios logo rather than the Disney one,
Yeah.
and so they'll be able to still do or be able to do more still. So like there aren't going to be any real restrictions. The only real concern I would have there is if, like with Lucasfilm, they get too invested in one of the projects and then just
right.
try to meddle with it.
Yeah. I think the perfect branch of Disney is probably Marvel. Though yeah, you are under
Mhm.
like constraint. I think within the constraints you can like still like crank out a pretty good thing because like I think like Iron Man 3 is a perfect example of that where that's a movie I really do like. It's like it is a Marvel film, but it also has like a lot of Shane Black traits in it. Like it's set during Christmas. It has the quippy dialogue. It's sort of I feel like a Shane Black kind of like
I,
really worked in that thing. I know people
I
don't
will
like that movie, but that's a guilty pleasure for
yes,
me.
I like Iron Man 3, but
Yeah,
I have heard, I'm not going to tell you exactly who it is, but it was a high ranking member on that set. Shane Black was often just sleeping.
really.
He was completely uninvested in the movie.
Ouch.
Wow. That's
And I feel
surprising.
like maybe it's because he had helped to develop it, and then the studio's hands started going into it during production, and then he just kind
Yeah,
of gave up after that.
yeah, that sucks.
But the other above the line departments were basically directing it,
Yeah,
and
but
Robert Downey.
yeah, totally. And also like another one is like the Russo brothers, as I said before. Like I think you can tell when you're like looking at a Joss Whedon film and like a Russo brothers MCU film. Like they have a distinct style in between those things. And though yeah, they've come under criticism for looking a bit bland, and I will agree with that. I still think it's their style. Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally. But
yeah,
didn't
yep,
Disney own Touchstone Pictures?
yeah. They did own Touchdown. Like what happened to that one? Did it get shut down? Probably.
I have
Yeah.
no clue.
I think
But
it went
didn't
to
they make
someone
like
else.
R-rated stuff on their own?
Yep.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction was technically released under Disney.
Ooh.
Oh,
God,
that's awesome. I
that's
did
pretty
not
It
know
weird.
wasn't
that.
produced. That they were producing it right after, or like they produced it and then Disney bought. Can't remember what company that was, but it was a big, whichever one did Pulp Fiction. So they released it, but I feel like they would have been fine with it anyways, just as long as it's under a studio, a different studio.
Right, yeah.
Um,
Um. Totally.
Going back to Marvel though, I feel like that represents both the worst and the best of how Disney operates
Yeah, I will agree with
with
that.
their putting their fingers in things. Because if you look back at the days of Iron Man 3, or not Thor Ragnarok, Thor: The
Yeah.
Dark World, Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, but that was different.
Mm,
They got really invested in it, especially after the Avengers blew up, and so they started putting their fingers in everything, both Marvel like studios and Disney. And then they realized that it just wasn't working, and it ended up with a huge fight between them and Joss Whedon. Until eventually, now they just kind of let their directors do what they like, and I think that's amazing.
And then like
right.
Phase 3, like it's kind of weird to me. Like people just kind of like forgive Phase 2 for like being there was working out, but then like Phase 3 gets all the weird criticism, like oh they're all the same here. It's like I don't know. I feel like Phase 3 was like when they like sort of like started to branch out. I think.
I really like that because like they started to actually make the movies like different from each other. Like Ant-Man, even though that was another one, a huge example of studio infringement.
Right.
But that was more of a heist movie along with Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Yeah,
um, and Endgame now. But like
yeah,
Captain Marvel was a '90s mystery movie.
yeah.
Thor Ragnarok was a Taika Waititi movie.
Dude, that
Mm,
was
Uh,
pretty much Taika Waititi's movie.
it's
yeah.
such
Um,
an enigma in the franchise.
and I know I get a lot of shit for this, but I fucking love those two MCU Spider-Man films. I know
Oh, me
like
too.
I know they're not like the total like the thing there, but like this is gonna be like a really big sin here. I'm gonna take a hot take. I really don't like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I love Sam Raimi as a director. I think he did a great thing as like the
Wow.
Dark Man. I think the first Spider-Man movie is a bit overrated, but I do like the second one like a lot. Like that movie still holds
Okay.
strong. Probably is
The
one of the
second
best.
one is good but dated.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. I actually disagree about the data part about I think the first one is dated, but I think
Okay, first one is dated.
the
Second one's
first one is
worse.
very dated and I don't know about you, but I think Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland are way better Peter Parker slash Spider Mans than Andrew
Oh,
and then
yes.
Tobey Maguire, in my
Really?
opinion. He's
Anyone
just
who
kind of
says
Huh.
Peter Parker is Tobey Maguire has just basically only known the movies
yeah,
because that's not Peter Parker. That's Sam Raimi's Peter Parker.
and there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
No, it worked.
See, I
Okay.
love the Raimi Spider-Mans because of the nostalgia, because I grew up and that was Spider-Man to me. So yeah,
Hmm.
I guess they sort of just shaped my idea of Spider-Man in general. So I love those movies and I recognize that especially the first one and the third one aren't necessarily that good, but I do think 2 is the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah. Getting on to Spider-Man though, I think the best origin story, in my opinion, is the Amazing Spider-Man. I know I get a lot of
Hmm.
sanctimony for that, but I feel like that movie really is just perfect. Like the
I
fact
agree.
that like Peter Parker is an asshole, I think works very well because it just sort of shows you how like like he doesn't become Spider-Man right away. He kind of does it for the guilt he kind of does it because he shot his uncle Ben and he's like being a dick around it. But then like he kind of becomes Spider-Man on the bridge, and I think that's very powerful,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And though the third act does kind of fall apart with like another space beam in the sky, I really do like the relationship between Dr. Connors and Peter Parker and stuff like that. I think that works phenomenally well.
I agree 100%. It was
Hmm.
it was definitely a really impressive
movie.
film, and I feel like the origin story even worked better because Blake Snyder even referenced this in one of his books, a screenwriting book.
Yeah.
But he points out how in the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man, it just didn't it wasn't as believable because he had Spider-Man on one side of town, he's getting bitten by a spider that gives him radioactive abilities, and then on the other side of town, some scientist turns himself into a monster with radioactive abilities, and it
Yeah.
just kind of was too fantastical. Whereas the Amazing Spider-Man took a more realistic approach to it, not a realistic one, but a more believable one, because it had that source of superpowers come from the same location, and so it made the entire story feel a lot more connected than the original origin story was, because that was more of an origin story, and then he also fights a bad guy.
Hmm.
Whereas
Yeah.
in the Amazing Spider-Man, he's fighting his own creation.
Totally. Oh, here just in here. There's actually this is another off-topic thing here, but apparently Godzilla versus Kong has been rated PG-13, and like a lot of people are pissed off that it wasn't rated R. It's like, dude, it's
What?
Godzilla.
Okay,
It's
if they were two humans, I'd get it, but with monsters, you can get away with a lot of
Yeah.
violence
yeah,
and still be PG-13.
yeah. So that's something. Still no trailer, which kind of sucks. But you know what I'm kind of like bummed about is that we haven't got a trailer for Dune yet. Like that movie to me, just
Uh,
oh my god, that's
I'm
gonna need
excited
all
for
the help
that.
we can get. Yeah,
I'm sure it's just that they're still working on a lot of post-production stuff, which is why we
yeah,
haven't gotten a trailer,
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
probably.
slowed down now too. So
yeah. But anyway, it's
Just
something there.
speaking of R ratings versus PG-13 though, I'm interested to see what Marvel will do with Blade,
Yeah,
mm,
cuz Mahershala Ali is going to be Blade, right?
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, so like are they going to make it PG-13 or are they
yes,
going to make like an R-rated Blade movie?
I don't know.
it's
I don't really
going to be on
feel like
Disney Plus, so it's going to be PG or TV-14 technically, but
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
maybe
And
like
they haven't like specifically said like what he's gonna be in though. Like I think there's maybe a Blade movie, but I don't know. Like for me, that could be like a Disney Plus thing or a
they're
film.
investing it all in Disney Plus. If Falcon and the Winter Soldier doesn't do well, though, they will probably either just drop Blade or adapt it into a movie.
I'm
But
really looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier. That sounds pretty good.
that trailer, that Super Bowl trailer, was so crazy.
That was so crazy. Like WandaVision and Falcon look pretty good, but I'm just not
Mhm.
really super invested in Loki. It's just like I'll watch it, but it's just like okay, whatever.
I am
I'm sure there'll be
super
something that'll get us into it.
I'm
Yeah.
super interested in the Doctor Strange sequel.
Yeah, dude. That
That movie
movie has,
looks
like, gone
crazy.
through so much shit, like,
With
Scott
Sam Raimi.
Derrickson was very pissed off about, like, when he, like, left, he was like, "Oh, man, we left on terms," and, like, you could see from his Twitter, he was getting kinda frustrated with Marvel, like,
Mhm.
back in September of 2019, he was, like, saying, like, "Most of my colleagues can say that the worst thing about big studios is that interference," and you could kind of, like, see the breadcrumbs of them just leaving each other, and he just kind of left.
Mhm.
And now he's working on a Elaborate sequel, but they kind of like leveled it up. And actually, here's another hot take. I don't really like the first Doctor Strange that much. I think that movie
Mhm.
is like represents
Mhm.
everything wrong with the Marvel Studios thing, with their origin stories. Like it's very
Yep.
bland and stuff like that. And that's not all of them, but I feel like Captain Marvel and
Mhm.
Doctor Strange to me just don't work very well. Like they're in the lower tier of Marvel films.
They're just
Like they
Iron
don't
Man
have like
bad.
a unique voice like Homecoming or Black Panther. Or hell, even the Guardians films for
I love the
point there.
Guardians.
I miss the days like 5 years ago when they announced all those movies, and then Kevin Feige was like, "Also, we're done with superhero origin stories.
Yeah,
Mhm.
dude.
Doctor Strange will be the first one to not have an origin story." And we were
That
like, "All like, yay!" And then that didn't happen.
that sucks, man. It was like,
Yeah.
come on. Like if there was any character that could totally not have an origin story, it's Doctor Strange. But anyway, getting back to it, I feel like the fact that they got Sam Raimi to do it, I think is really awesome. Like
Yeah.
that he's a perfect fit for that.
He is good at horror.
And the fact that and I'm kind of glad it's gotten pushed back so far, so like that it can be more of a Sam Raimi movie
Right.
I
because
like
like
that. Give him time to adapt his own story.
yeah, because like if they were starting shooting right now, it would not be it would just be like another bland sequel. But But now that he has more time, I think that's pretty good. But it also kind of throws off the whole thing because Doctor Strange 2 is supposed to be the main centerpiece of Phase 4. So it just kind of throws off their plans a little bit. And their only big move for 2021 will be Spider-Man 3, which they don't actually wholly own. So they're going to be investing in like more original films like Shang-Chi and The Eternals, which I'm actually kind of excited for. Like I want Marvel to branch out a bit, you
I'm
know?
excited. I am definitely excited for that.
Those two. Like I could care less about Black Widow. Like I'm sorry. I mean, I like
Same.
Black Widow as a character, but I just think like she should have had a movie like 4 years ago. Like
I'm.
right like that should have been the movie right after Civil War, not Doctor Strange, in my
Oh,
opinion.
absolutely. This is just them being late to the game. And like I definitely like the fact that they killed off the character.
Yeah.
And now we're doing a solo movie about them. Kind of gets people uninvested in it, which is kind of where the another issue came with Solo, because we just saw Han Solo die, and now we're going to see some other story that he had before he died. It works better when the character's still alive in the grander franchise in order to attract people because they'll be more invested. But
Yeah.
um, Black Widow is only attracting me because it kind of had Mission Impossible vibes, and it was starting to do that. And then the virus hit, and now I have no investment again.
Yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't look very good to me, like in my opinion. And it sucks because it actually has a pretty good director, Kate Shortland.
Yep,
So maybe it could be good. It's just maybe the trailers are just kind of bland. Like
I'm sure
that's
it can be good,
yeah.
Mhm.
but I'm not invested yet. It'll have to sell me on it.
Yeah, totally. So anyway, we're almost to an hour here. We're probably gonna wrap this up here. So, any last thoughts on the Snyder Cut, guys, or do you think we just kind of said everything about it? Because I think it's both good and bad. Because at the one hand, it's good to see Zack Snyder finish his vision, so he can like move on and
Mhm.
let this kind of die, and maybe open the door for like the air cut, which is kind of weird because he actually already had an extended cut, so it's sort of like a second director's cut. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's um I think it's cool that it's happening. It gives me hope for I don't think it'll ever happen, but it gives me hope that we might see a Lord and Miller cut of Solo. That would be my
Oh
dream,
yes.
but we're probably never
yeah,
going to get that. But
yeah.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm glad he can like start working on his own stuff now and just move on
That's in the
from this
Disney Vault, bra.
DC stuff.
Yeah. So
Um, I'm definitely excited to watch it because I was always curious to see what it would actually be
yeah,
like. I don't know, I'm always fascinated by movies that were bad and then watching where they went wrong. So like when Batman vs Superman's uh ultimate cut came out, I watched that because I was like, all right, let's see if we can track down what was missing from the movie, what was supposed to be there, what
Hmm.
should have been there that just wasn't, and then I was able to kind of piece together that. I did the same with Suicide Squad. But Justice League was always an enigma just because I could never tell what the Zack Snyder's was supposed to be because for better or for worse, Joss Whedon just kind of painted over it.
yeah. That whole Superman sequence was Zack Snyder's thing, which is that's probably like the best part of the movie. Like
Was
that
it?
one scene where like yeah, that's what I've heard from like sources there. So like that
Why
whole
the
scene
backlash?
was Zack Snyder's. Like you know
Well, I get the concept of him coming back, but Snyder also had him turning evil briefly.
Hmm.
Um, and then the entire all the footage that we saw in at least the final cut of Superman, being bright and happy at the end, was clearly from the reshoots, as you could tell by his lip. So
Yeah.
totally. And I don't know about you, but this is kind of another tangent here before we wrap up. I'm like I'm so not convinced that the black suit was going to play any role in the movie. Like as much as
oh,
like
he's
people.
going to be there for an Easter egg.
It was just there for an Easter egg. It's like, oh man, he's gonna wear the black suit for the whole movie. It's like, dude, no, he wasn't. It was just like a deleted scene. Like maybe for the Snyder cut, maybe it could like they could add it there, but it's just sort of like I don't know. I feel like the part where he sort of like gets the brighter Superman suit back. I think it kind of shows him that he's become Superman fully now. He's not almost Superman. He is Superman.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like the black suit was definitely part of his thing because that's one of the things about Zack Snyder is that he hates to kill his darlings or to scare the stuff that he likes. And I
Yeah,
feel like even if the story didn't call for the black suit, he wanted it there either for himself or for fans. And so I 100% believe that that was definitely the original plan. At least to have it there for one scene, even if it's not explained.
yeah. But Trevor wouldn't get that super like super hairy chest man. Like, come on, who doesn't like that? Henry
uh,
Cavill.
give
Yeah, you're right.
give
You're right.
give
You're right.
Cavill a mullet.
Yeah, just give him like a mullet, hairy
Yeah.
chest. That's pretty funny. Yeah,
Seeing Superman with his hairy chest out, beating, kicking the ass of the rest of the Justice League was very entertaining. I'll give it that.
that was pretty funny. And that one scene with the Flash, like, just, oh my god. Okay, one more tangent. Ezra Miller makes that movie. Like, he is just the
Hmm.
pure heart and soul of that movie. I know people hate him, but just, my god, he's great as the Flash, and
Choke
I would be
slamming
super
people,
bummed.
man.
I would be super bummed if he gets like dropped from the thing. And again, Ezra Miller is probably a bad person. Like that whole situation with the woman in Iceland.
He's cleared up. He's good.
Okay, good,
We can like him again.
cool.
No, the only time I've ever actually like had a motivation to watch Justice League in the last 2 years was after I watched a different Ezra Miller movie, and I'm like, oh, he's funny in Justice League too. And then I watched that, and I was like, wait, did I actually just willingly put this movie on?
Yeah,
So he definitely
was
saved it
it
for
the
me.
one we need to talk about, Kevin? That one was pretty good.
Oh, I love that movie.
So good. Anyway, that kind of wraps it up here. Thank you guys for watching, and see you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Cool.